Hello, this is going to be a breakdown and reconstruction of my recent 6.63 personal best average of 5. If you like, you can look at these as a sort of example solve. I think most of them had fairly advanced cross plus 1 or even cross plus 2 planning techniques, and you might take away a little bit from them. Otherwise, feel free to just watch the video. So to begin, we've got scramble 1. All scrambles are in the description. Immediately, I saw this orange and green block on yellow, so I said, right, I'll do that and make an X cross. So our other cross pieces are here, here, and here, which is quite useful because they're all on one face, which means I can do the cross mostly 2gen. So I started from this angle and did dr, which creates this block here, followed by d to put these two pieces on opposites, and then r prime, u prime, r prime. This inserted the blue edge as well as the green orange edge, so that when I did d2 to align the cross, I would end up with an X cross. What I could have done here and missed was insert the red edge as well, so that the cross would be solved, and what this actually gives is a free pair, though I highly doubt I would have seen that, but I didn't do that. Instead, I did d2 at the same time as a u prime, and then inserted the red edge, which is now here, like so. The rest of the solve is fairly standard, so I'll go through it fairly quickly. The next pair I saw was blue-orange, which has the edge over here, and I solved like this. I looked ahead to this pair as I was solving it, so I rotated, as this is a misoriented edge, and solved it the standard way. I then ended up with the same case into the front slot this time, and solved it like this. I then got fat soon for my OLL, and a JPerm as my BLL, which was a rather good solve. That was a 6.46. Solve 2 had by far the most advanced thing I did in terms of cross planning, so I made a double X cross on yellow, as we had this beautiful pair of pieces here, as well as these two here. There was this green and red block as well, but I didn't end up using it. So my cross solution, I started out by doing a U2, so that red and green would be on opposite colours, like orange, making the rest of the solution fairly easy. I then inserted red onto opposites, and blue with r prime fr, which made us this lovely block here. I knew that this piece was going to be here, and it was going to be inserted when I inserted the green edge. So what I also saw was that this was here, and so if I rotated and did it into the back, I could do R, U, R, which would solve this edge as well as this edge. So when I did D2 to solve the cross, I would end up with a double X cross, which is awfully nice. I then got a rather crap case. This pair can be solved using awkward things, which I don't like, for the left hand, or you can rotate and spam 2gen, which is what I did. So it can be solved like this. This pair is an alright case, for last slot at least. I could have taken it out and then had my edges oriented, but I didn't fancy doing that, so instead I solved it with a sledgehammer and then inserted it. Then I had standard OLL and JPerm again, which was rather nice. Solve 3 was a 6.41. I honestly don't think this solve was particularly good. I missed some fairly obvious things that would have made it less rubbish. However, I got an OLL skip and had decent TPS, so it was fairly fast. I did white cross this time. My cross pieces were here, 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 and here, and I solved it essentially how any beginner would. So red was already inserted, so I went from this angle and inserted orange and blue. What I noticed in inspection, however, was that this piece is oriented, and that its corresponding edge, or corresponding corner, I should say, is over here, so that when I move green over and put it down, this will be set up as a free mover. I then align the cross. I also saw fairly obviously that this pair would be preserved during the cross, so I could look ahead to cross plus 2. What I missed was that this would become a not desirable case. So I inserted this. Got very lucky here, as when I inserted this pair into the back slot, it paired up the green-orange pair, which I then solved like so. And this resulted in a bad case. I had two flipped edges and not much I could do about it. I know there is a good algorithm for this, however I don't actually know it, so instead I took out the corner. I took out the corner so that the misoriented edge would get put in here and therefore become oriented, and then solved it standardly. However, this resulted in an OLL skip, which we always love, and a gperm. So that was rather lucky, and luckily in the actual solve I did the AUF correctly. The fourth solve was crap and not worth talking about. Solve 5 was the fastest of the bunch, as it was a 6.37, and this solve I frankly got incredibly lucky and had good TPS, which resulted in a speedy solve. So I made a very obvious white X-cross with this green and red block, and essentially this is a solution that a beginner might come across by accident, but I noticed that when I moved red over so that I could put it next to green, this edge would end up in a brilliant spot so that it can be put down just like this, and then the next moves would be to insert the blue edge like that. So I was able to do all of that with one while cancelling some moves, and what I didn't notice was that it would set this up, but well, we take those. So I did a D2 to solve the X-cross, and then inserted this into the back. With even more luck, this became my next pair as it was solved, so I inserted that also into the back slot. I then ended up with a not brilliant case, however for the last slot it's fairly good because it meant I could orient all of my edges by swapping out the two misoriented edges, like so. I then rotated and inserted it into the back. I then got a very easy OLL, and I recognised that because these two are the same colour and these two are opposite colours, I'd end up with my edges solved, so I'd get either a U, H, Z perm or skip. In this case I got a U perm. I got a very good U perm that I can do rather quickly, so I did that in the back with the R3 finger trick and finished with no AUF. So that was a rather speedy, however lucky average, and if you got something out of this, then good for you.